I'm Joseph Crudup. Tonight, I want to have this special. I want to read to you this book called Barack Obama, our 44th president. This book came in from the library that I'm going to read to you. And I'm going to read to you chapter 1 and 2. This is the chapter of the 15 that I never read before. And it's been a good book. And I've never seen this before. So here are the times that Barack Obama has made history. Times that he would have made history. And just forever, it expels people, our community, into the White House. And the entire family, and to the entire people of the United States. So I'm going to read to you. This is the first and second chapter. And here it is. Chapter 1. Barack Obama Jr. On August 4, 1961, our baby boy was born at Campbell Medical Center in Honolulu, Hawaii. He weighed 8 pounds, 2 ounces. His parents, Annie and Barack, named him after his father, Barack Hussein Obama, but they called their child Barry. Barack Obama Sr. was a foreign education student from Carolina, a county in East Central Africa. He was 25 years old, studying on a scholarship at the University of Hawaii. He was the very first African student at the school. Barack was tall and changeling with a voice like Black Velvet. As his mother-in-law, Madeline Dawn, described it with a British accent, he had come from a poor family, herding goats as a boy. His father, the Lord Tribe, had been a domestic servant for the British colonials. Now Canada was on the brink of gaining independence from Britain. Barack was determined to accomplish great things, both for himself and for his country. It was a great honor for his humble background. Great to study at medical schools and earn an advanced degree in economics. But he also had heavy responsibilities to his people, and he intended to return to Canada and help lead the country into a brighter future. Anne Diamond was an 18-year-old freshman at the University of Hawaii in 1960, when she met Barack in the wrestling class. Accompanied by independent mining guard, she had dark curly hair and dark eyebrows, like her father's. She read series of books about reforming the scholarship, and she angrily and spent hours in long, honest discussions with her friends, and lived with her parents, Stanley and Madeline Garner. Walking a horse near the University campus. Stanley was a fundamental salesman, while Madeline worked for a bank. Both Stanley and Madeline had grown up in Kansas, but after they married, they lived in several states before settling in Hawaii. When Annie first brought Barack home for dinner, her parents, especially Madeline, were uneasy. They had never met anyone from Africa before, but Barack quickly won them over with his charm, and they were impressed with his brilliant mind and his confidence. However, the Dorians were unpleased and surprised in February of 1961 when Annie and Barack imploded to the island of Mullet and came back married. Stanley and Madeline were disappointed that Annie, so bright and Crudup mine was dropping out college at only one stemmaster. Manning also feared that the cultural difference between the American daughter and this African young man were too great. Barack's father, Hassan Orlando Obama, who lived in Kenya, was also surprised and very upset at the news. He threatened to get Barack's travel visa canceled, so he had to return to Kenya. He pointed out that Barack already had family responsibilities and wife and two children in Kenya. Also, he wanted his son. An American wife wasn't likely to be understanding about the African's custom of a man having more than one family. Furthermore, a Lincoln was standing during a long, angry letter. As Barry's mother told him Lil's letter, Barack's father didn't want to Obama blood swirling about white women. Barack refused to obey his father, and the Diamonds were accepting their daughter's choice. For 2 years, Barack and Ann lived with their baby in a small white house near the University campus. Then in 1963, Barack graduated from the University of Hawaii and won a scholarship to study economics at Harvard University in Massachusetts. The scholarship didn't allow enough money to bring Ann and their son with him, but Barack felt he couldn't pass up the chance to study at such a prestigious university in the end. Now, he left in Hawaii for Massachusetts by himself. Barack Sr. intended to every town and take his wife and son back to Canada after he had earned his failure in economics. But Anne decided that this marriage would not work. Barack might love her and Barry, but his wife and son were not as important as his friendship and both on his continued commitment to Canaan. Besides, it did matter to Anne, as Barack's father had predicted that Barack had a wife and children in Canaan. In January 1964, she filed for divorce. During his first years, Barry didn't wonder why his father was missing. Family pictures show him happily riding his tricycle or pushing on a fence with his mother's arm around him. In another picture from those days, Barry falling in the stuff that his grandfather Stanley, when Barry called Gramps, and both Stanley outgoing man. Stanley was delighted to have Barry to play with and show off to friends and neighbors. The Maryland Donna was more popular and sensible, but she too doubted on their grandson. She told him to call her Tutu, Hawaiian name for grandmothers, and the name got shortened to Toot. Barry's mother and grandparents talked to him about his father, but they never criticized Barack Sr. to Barry, and especially must have felt pain and anger over the failing marriage, but she didn't say everything to Barry about that. The worst thing she said about Barack Obama was that he was a terrible driver, and told Barry that he had a wonderful father, fairly intelligent, with a deep baritone voice and a way of commanding people's attention. She showed him pictures of Barack Sr., a dark skinny man with glasses. She told him his father loved him very much. Although Barry wouldn't realize it for many years, his mother was just as remarkable as his father. Her full name was Stanley Ann Dawn, because her father had wished for a son. growing up, she didn't like having a boy's name, but feeling different from other children may have made her more independent as well. Once, when the Dorians were living in Texas, Anne brought a black friend home to play that would have been fine with Anne's parents. But the neighborhood children taunted the girls with racial slurs, driving the black girl away. Even more disturbing, the adult town people blamed the incident on the Dorians. Instead of scolding at their own children, they advised the Dorians not to let Anne associate with black playmates. When Anne was in the 8th grade, the family moved to Seattle, Washington. Stanley was often in a bell job in a food store there, and they were all glad to leave Texas. Marilyn found a job in a bank in 1956. The Dorians bought a house on Muscle Island near Seattle, so that Anne could attend the new high school there. Anne was an intelligent and courteous girl with a mind of her own. Some of her high school friends were so poisonous that she didn't feel any need to fit in with no one people. She didn't seem to have the usual interest in dating or even generally getting married and having children. What they interested in were courtly events and the controversial ideas set forth by her English and philosophy teachers. These teachers engaged me in the community by questioning religion, the U.S. political system, and other parts of the American way of life. Some of the thought-provoking books that existed over Vince Packard, the Huberman Parliament. About the Parliament and Advisory, George Honors 1984, a note about a grand future in which the countries of the world are already at war and the government controls citizens, mind with lies and violence. And with lies while the organization, man, with describing the big American corporations actually controlling every aspect of their employee lives. And her friends had long discussions on such topics after school in coffee shops. She spent months of her free time reading. She was fantastic with other courtings, and she was exhausted about how people's lives could be improved. Towards the end of her high school career, Anna applied to the University of Chicago and received early pensions. The University of Chicago, with its reputation for internal excitement in the middle of the big city, applied to Anne's sense and adventure. However, Stanley Doyle didn't want his daughter living on her own, far away from home, at such a long age. After Anne's graduation from high school in 1960, Stanley heard that a new opportunity was opening up in the formidable business in Hollywood, always ready for a new adventure and hopeful for a better life somewhere else. He decided to move to his family to Hawaii. Anne was sitting her father for one in her life, and she was reluctant to leave Seattle. But Hawaii wasn't such a bad place to be. A land of warm, sandy beaches and transparent blue water with steep rainforest covered hills with waterfalls and gangrel flowers. Also, in Hawaii and accordance people with an interesting mix of backgrounds, Japanese, Filipinos, foreign analysis, and enrolled in the University of Hawaii to study in a Hawaii degree. She soon failed, and with a group of students who share her interest in politics and world affairs, was now the one with the most forceful confidence opponents was Barack Obama. After divorcing Barack in 1964, Anne went back to school at the University of Hawaii. She had no money, but she got by with food stamps and with her parents' help. While Anne was in class, Barry's grandparents took care of him. And soon met another foreign exchange student she liked very much, an indulgent son of a man named Yellow Solitoroy, indulgent like Cannon was in a independent country. Lily's father and brother have both died in their struggle against the Dutch colonialists, and the Dutch army have buried their house. Lily was proud of his country and wanted to contribute to building a better industrial and planned to teach at the university when he returned to Jakarta, the capital city, having a much more easygoing personality than Barack Sr. Lily got along well with the Dorians. He enjoyed teaching with Lon Berry and playing shells with Staley. Lily wanted to remain in Hawaii until he finished his studies, but industry in the mid-1960s was a country in turmoil. President Sukarno had won in Indonesia since the declaration of the independence in 1945, but there was increasing unrest against his government. In 1965, the army led a violent anti-communist plan in which hundreds of thousands died. In 1966, Leo was ordered back to Indonesia to serve in the army. He and Anne decided to marry before he left, with the plan that she and Barry would join him several months later. Stanley was excited for Anne and Barry moving to a place more exotic than Hawaii, with tigers and monsoons. Madeline was worried that the country might not be safe for them because of the politics on the heaven. Anne and Barry need to get shots and passports since they never left the United States before. In 1967, they boldly planned to fly first to Japan and then to Jakarta. It's endorsing about a third of the way around the globe from Hawaii. Chapter 2. Ensenada. Both Hawaii and Ensenada are tropical archipelagos or shrinking islands, but they were the responsibility ends. Ensenada, including the principal island, of Java, Borneo, Sumatra, and Bali, is 100 times greater in land area than Hawaii. At the time Barry and his family lived in Estudasne, its population was well over 100 million, while Hawaii's population was around 700,000. Even the world is different. Although the temperature is usually very warm, the constant trade winds make it feel comfortable. That Carcharlie lying right near the cookboard is extremely hot and steamy. Such little berry old mama and his mother were thrilled with the invention of living in an entirely strange place as Lola drove them home for that airport the first day. He pointed out childishly and helping them the monkey guard at Lola's house buried found baby crocodiles in the backyard as well as Apple, especially the boy as a pet for Barry. Both of producers drilled its estuary again, plunging peacefully in the trees. There were also chickens in the backyard, and one of them, Barry was an ascendant to Lon, who was slowly gathered for their dinner. Doing something elaborate, incomprehensible incomprehensible to Barry at first, and he didn't know anyone except his mother and stepfather. However, Lola's retaliations were warning welcome to his medical wife and stepson in the neighborhood. Barry set out to make friends, preaching on the great wall. He flipped his arms and called like a crowd to make the other children laugh. Soon Barry was kicking a soccer ball around with the other children. There were no end on exciting things to do. Playing race in rice patterns, riding on water buffalo, flying kites in French contests. He longed to eat unfairly things like truffle and champignon, especially with hot peppers. He longed to experience the teachers at his new schools to last him with a barbarous threats. If he mentioned it had Lola and Karen's stepfather taught Barry how to defend himself if another boy picked a fight. One of the strangest things about Indazla for both Anne and Barry was a popular. Although Lola's house had no electricity, it was a comfortable white stone house with a red-tiled roof. But many of their neighborhoods live in bamboo huts. The neighbors' farmers might lose their whole lives shot if there was a drought, and they were happiness against severe floods. And then there were holders of beggars, homeless, jobless, upheaval, blind, deformed, with hazardous diseases like leprosy. And was so terrible that her eyes filled with tears and her chin trembling at the sight these truly destroyed the people. She wanted to help anyone who came to the door and asked for money. But Lulu had different attitude. He told Barry that life was hard, and that was just the way it was. He gave hints about what he'll be had endured in the year that General Sorato's government leading him away from his students in Hawaii and sent him into the swamps of New Guinea to fight the communist rebels. He showed Barry the scars on his leg where he dug in the lesson out with a hot knife. It was impossible. Lulu explained to try to help anyone who needed help. It was hard enough just to take care of herself and their family. Lulu was lucky. to be educated and had a job, working for the army as a guardless. He, he intentioned to get a better job and move up in the world. Luther was Muslim, although not very devout. He sometimes went to the mosque to pray, and once a long while he took Barry with him. As, as many endorsements practically including instruments or handled on them, such as the monkey god Hanuman, as well as bits of the religion of the original Indonesian tribes. Everyone in Lola's neighborhood was Muslim, but Anne and Lola sent Barry to the Catholic school. Francis's assistant primary school. All the children there, including Barry, were excited to take part in the daily Catholic prayers, although it was merely a work exercise to Barry. At school, as in his neighborhood, Barry didn't see anyone who looked like him. This was different for Hawaii, where our popularity was a mix of relatively ethnic group. The foreign islanders first settled the islands, the white Europeans worldwide in the 18th century. Now, the Asians who began immigrations in this day in the 19th century, and many other groups who arrived since. Here are the children were short, slight endorsements, except for Tara, Hussey, Barry. His skin was darker than theirs, and his hair was curly rather than straight. Barry had to work to learn the new league and was sometimes teasing her for being foreigner and different looking. Once a friend triggered him into eating a piece of shrimp pasta, telling him it was chocolate. At least Barry knew the endorsement of worth for that situation. Calling is shouting at the other boy, spitting out the shrimp pasta. Cheater. But Barry, a cheerful and outgoing boy, was discouraging about the teasing. He was naturally kind, protecting small children and helping out anyone who fell down. His first grade teaching Israel, knowing how bright he was, and how the other children turned to follow his lead. Meanwhile, Anne took a job as an English teacher at the U.S. Assembly in Jakarta. She was already troubling Barry in English, waking him up early to study before school every morning. Anne wanted Barry to adopt him to ex-mother. She didn't want him to lose ground in his negative language. In 1970, Anne gave birth to her daughter, Marilyn Cassandra Sandra. She taught Mel from an early age, as she had Barry, that everyone was the same under the skin. All people had the right to be respected. Mary's doll collecting a looking like the United Nations, as she said later. There was a black dog, inside the dog, a dust dog. Barry's mother coaching him to be proud of his own special identity. She taught him about Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement, and about Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, and the history of changes in U.S. laws about race. She played She played Marla Jackson's gospel music for him. She also taught him that his African father was a man of high ideals. Senior had grown up poor, but he would never go along with a corporate system just because it was the popular thing to do. Brother was like his father. She told him, and she was sure he would follow his father's explainer. And she was sure he would follow his father's example. From his mother, Barry got the impression that being pop black was something to be proud of. However, when he was around 9 years old, he came across in a magazine article that disturbed him deeply. It was about an American black man who had tried to line his skin with a medical cream. Pictures in the timeline showed how the carnivores he had left his skin patches and disfigured. It was horrible that the treatment had turned out badly. But it seems even worse to Barry that the man had wanted to desperately to be white. Barry didn't talk to anyone about this, but it started him thinking. Lola was now working for Marvin Orr as a governor of American Relations conservativeness while playing the job. In 1970, he was able to buy a house in a Bell neighborhood where the streets were pale and the house was Secretary off from battles and days. Bill had now studied at the Catholic school for 3 years, but after the family moved, he began attending a government-run school. This school, State Elementary School Management 1, offered religion instruction once a week. Bill was registered as Muslim because his stepfather was considered Muslim, so he attended the Muslim class. He sometimes made face during the study of the Quran was meant no more to him than the prayers at his Carlisle school had. When his teacher complaining to his mother, an example to Barry that he should be respectful of others' belief and behave himself during a religion class. Anne wasn't at all religions, but she thought it was good for children to be exposed to different faiths. Outside religion class, the government school encourages the children to celebrate the holidays of other religions as well as Islam. They put up the decoration for both Christmas and Habala and Esmeralda holiday. A lot of costume at traditional Muslim schools. The boys and girls were not separate, and the girls did not wear head scarves. Many of the women teachers wore Western-style clothing, such as sleeve-length dresses. Barry's new school was supposed to be one of the best in Jakarta, but Anne was distressed filled with the education he was getting. She was afraid her early morning English lessons with Barry wouldn't make up for second-rate scholarly. Barry seems to be spending the 2 months of the school day sitting in the back of the classroom, drawing superheroes like Batman and Spider-Man, and worrying more and more about the limited opportunities he would have if he stayed in the establishment. Then there was the time Barry came home with a long, thick gash in his arm. playing on a mudslide with a friend. He ripped his arm open on the barbed wire fence. Barry wasn't worried about the injury, and neither was his stepfather. But Ann borrowed in a car and rushed Barry to the hospital. Even the two doctors at the hospital wasn't very concerning. They finished their game on dominoes before swallowing Barry's worn out with 20 stitches. The incident caused Anne to realize that her son might not receive popular medical care in this country. She was concerned about Barry's brothers. 2. In Jakarta, cooperation and going along with their unfair system with facts of life. When she and Barry forced a ride at the Jakarta airport, little Barbara, the customs guards said they didn't have to wait in the long lines. When the tax officials came to inspect Lily's house, he had the refrigerator so they wouldn't be counting on his tax bill. Everyone in Dawson did their best to get around inconvenient rules, but Anne didn't want Barry's character formed by certain attitudes. She wanted him to vote honestly. Fairness and independent judgment as her parents had taught her, and how life wasn't an excursion for the lost dinner. Look at Barack Obama, Senior, king for and poor, unindicated in a family, but still dedicated his life to working for the benefits of the Canadian people. Sonny Ann's teaching must have woven it off from Barry, his dark gray t-shirt, phenomenal, cynical, little remembered and easy he wrote about what he wanted to be when he grew up. He wanted to be president, she said. He didn't say what country he wanted to be president of, but he wanted to make everybody happy. In the summer of 1970, Barry flew back to Hawaii to spend his vacation with his grandparents. They, too, were concerned about Barry's education, and they took him to interview it at High School, a private school in Honolulu. In the summer of 1971, Anne sent Barry back to Hawaii to begin attending Pontiac in the fall. For the time being, he will live with his parents. He will live with his grandparents. As for Anne, she promised to join Barry within a year, maybe by Christmas. Anne was disappointed in Lulu when she fell in love with him in Hawaii. He had high ideas about a life of service to international people. She had thought they would work together to improve his country, but he had given up his ideas. While she felt more and more deeply for the poor people in international, Anne and Lulu had drifted apart, and this marriage, too, will soon end. That's all for the chapter 1 and chapter 2. We'll be looking for chapter 3 and chapter 4 for tomorrow night. I'm Joseph Crudup.